Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Today's guest is a polythreat. She's a dancer, singer, pianist, producer, DJ, badass mother, and stepmother. We have SOSUPERSAM on the pod today, or just Sam to her friends. If you love the club life, or maybe you're just club curious like me, you'll enjoy this one. This episode is for the artists, the ones that bring their artistry and their creative philosophy to parenting. Right, it's nice.
This is really good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Perfecto.
Welcome to my closet.
It's good. And the furnishings are really pro. Man.
Yeah, we're very luxe here. You two can own this table from Amazon.com.
Is this from Amazon?
Yeah, it's like
giving West Elm.
It's a folding card table.
This is folding. Send me the link. That's cool.
I'll send her the affiliate link.
Yeah. Make sure you get 20% commission.
It's for when I play mahjong.
Okay.
For my gals.
Oh.
Yeah. But we play Jewish mahjong, not Asian mahjong. It's different rules.
Is it?
Yeah.
And that's a sanctioned style of mahjong?
For 100 years.
Okay, cool.
At least.
Okay.
It's mainly...
How did that happen?
First of all, the Jews and especially the Chinese, I feel, have a lot in common in terms of culture. There's a lot of, especially with their elderly and the things that the olds like to get up to.
Okay.
I don't actually know. I'm sure there's a whole history of it, but I just know that everybody's grandma is doing mahjong, and my friends and I decided like we should just get a jump on that now.
Great, yeah. I have a lot of friends who do mahjong, and it's becoming a thing.
There's like cruises,
and there's cruise too. There's a mahjong group called Mahjong Mistress, and they are friends of mine, and they started up during COVID, and they are super chic. Very aesthetic, young.
Tracks for you. All of this is tracking Sam.
Hipsters and they cool kids. And they do mahjong parties for anywhere from Soho House to, I think they did Rashida Jones's birthday party where they do like a full...
Rashida Jones, I think, must throw a good party because this is now the second person who has mentioned a Rashida Jones party.
I want to go.
That's adorable.
She's just on it.
She's
on it. On point. And where does she live? Do you think she lives near us?
I think she lives in the valley.
She's giving valley.
She's giving valley. She's giving, I don't give a fuck. I just want to be cozy.
Yeah, like I'm from LA. I don't need to prove anything. Yeah, I don't need to live in Bel Air. I want to live among my people.
Let's talk about that because you are like,
vanilla hair.
You're the cool kid on the block. Like you're a fucking professional DJ.
Thanks.
You're doing all of the things. Like I get tired looking at like the events that you go to. We're with the High Confectionery one night, we're DJing one night, we're doing benefits, we're doing all the things, meanwhile looking amazing in these outfits. So you were doing all this. You're also this like super involved mom who is very thoughtful and intentional about how you parent your child.
I am.
And now
thanks.
But that's true. You are seen.
I feel seen.
And also in my closet. And also you live among the people in Mayberry where people are like borrowing sugar and having a 4th of July parade. There's some dissonance there because when you are home, you are like 100%, let's go bake something or cook something together. Let's have a Montessori experience. And then at night, you're just like this it bitch around town.
Oh, thanks.
And then you're out walking your dog.
But I do feel like where we live is for the it bitches who are moms. I do feel that. Because I do see you included and like all the other like cool parents. I see them out. It's just, at functions.
It just doesn't look like it here, does it?
But I think it's that happy, perfect. It's a perfect world right here.
Yeah.
Because you can borrow sugar, but you're borrowing sugar from like the guy who wrote like Rihanna SOS.
Do we have that person in our neighborhood? Ooh, we can talk about that later.
I mean, like he wrote a Beyonce Halo, but I'm also borrowing sugar from him. So it's like,
and is he a dad?
Yeah, they have two.
Oh my goodness.
I won't name names.
Okay.
Yeah, like low key. You're just like, but also high key. Very like people are it bitches in this town.
This is so interesting because we've talked about this before. The identity thing that we are going through because you become a parent and all of a sudden society starts looking at you differently. Even though you're the same person, you just push something out of your vagina or got it cut out of you or got a baby some other way.
Sure. You got one.
You have a child all of a sudden and people look at you differently. And like the expectations of you and how you spend your time are all of a sudden different. And do you feel any sort of expectation or judginess, even like from your parents who I guess are used to your career now, who are like, Sam, you can't be out DJing, like you're a mom now?
No, and it wasn't easy to arrive at my no, which is now I think a more resounding confident no, but it's taken a while to get there. And I do feel like, circling back to our neighborhood, I think living in this little pocket has been a big part of my reconciliation of both.
Yeah.
That I can have a family, but also just be in the circuit and like do what I do and not follow any conventions necessarily, but I think we have the privilege to choose who the fuck we want to be and like how the hell we're gonna do it. And I think that's what's been so cool about motherhood is like learning that in 2024 you can pick and choose and curate your motherhood, and there isn't one way to do it anymore, where I think there was before.
There totally was. And I think sometimes there are still these silent forces at work that don't realize you're being old school influenced.
Sure.
It's not like you're being sold something on Instagram, but there's just these ideas that kind of find you, or at least found me, where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing it this way. Of course,
you're supposed to. And then you see all this like radical like newness and wokeness, and I think there's just so many levels to it.
Yeah. And
I do feel like the best way to navigate all that is to be really good inside yourself, because there's just so much shit out there. You can get lost in the sauce.
Yeah. Lost in the sauce. I say all the time that like so much of parenting, especially in the age where our kids are now, the older ones, 2, 4, whatever, where they have like big personalities and big feelings, so much of that I feel like is figuring out what your own triggers are, 100%. Because they are just little trigger machines and they figure it out and they're going to push the buttons. And so it's like, how are you responding to the stuff inside you that's really all parenting is.
It is. Exactly. And if you haven't really understood it or taken the time to process it, and then also just deciding if that's what you want to keep within your value system or let it go and try something new. I think there's a lot of reflection that does need to happen, but also like, who the fuck has the time? So I think like, how do you find the time for all of that inner work? But I think it is pretty important. Yeah. It's something that I definitely try to prioritize.
And what kind of, when you were growing up, did you have, and you were like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to be a DJ.
Yeah.
Were they like, great, this is the best thing we've heard? Were immigrant parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stereotypically, potentially not into that.
Yeah, very much not into that. It's a dichotomy of being Filipino American within our like sort of family structure and like parties and dynamics. It's like all the kids are supposed to sing karaoke and do dance performances and like be good at piano and like basically be like ultimate Santa Monica promenade performers, right? But then also excel at school, and none of that extracurricular talent is meant to transfer into like a viable job. Yeah. So that's the dichotomy I grew up in, and again, like they were like, cool, we want you to sing for grandma's birthday party and do hula at your cousin's wedding, but don't ever fucking think that you're ever gonna do this for a living, because you need health insurance, you need a job, like you need a 9 to 5, you need a HMO, like all the stuff, like you need a 401k. And
all the letters and numbers.
Yeah, letters, numbers, and checks. The 1st and 15th, I don't want to worry about you. Get your education. And so, no, they were not supportive of like me DJing in a professional way. They're just like, I don't get it. And all for a good intention, right? So, but that was a big existential crisis for me out of college, because I was like, I have an economics degree. Thanks. And now I'm going to be a backup dancer and live at your house and make $500 every 2 weeks. And my mom was like, what is actually wrong with you?
My literal nightmare as a mother has come
Literal
true.
nightmare, but also let's post her on Facebook because she was in a music video, but also go get a job. So it was like very confusing. For a good part of 10 years, I flip-flopped back and forth out of college between my creative pursuits and then more conventional academic, like
what were you doing?
I worked in advertising.
Oh my God.
So I went into advertising after burning out on dancing, because it's a really rough industry and very ungratifying and not rewarding. And so I did advertising for a long time, and then I got that itch. I needed to do something, and I started a fashion blog at my work, at my desk, and then I started DJing on the side, and then I was like, oh, but I need a jobby job. What can I do that's fun and creative? Oh, I'll do fashion PR. So I started pursuing that. But at the same time, I was DJing, and those actually really worked in parallel together, and they fed each other to the point where I'd moved to New York for a real fashion PR job. Like, we were talking about Whitney Port.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with like her and like Kelly Catrone and Olivia Palermo on The City. And so I went to New York to pursue my big girl fashion PR dreams. But I had also reached like an apex or something in my DJing moonlighting hobby where I had to pick and choose one or the other. And
your crisis moment in your hero story.
In my hero story. And I picked DJing. And I said, oh, I get another chance to do a creative job. Let me do it again. Let me try it again and be more creative about how I can make it ends meet and be more like, I don't know, nimble financially. And let's figure it out. And so that's what I did. That was the last flip-flop I did.
And then you haven't looked back since then.
No.
How long ago was that?
13 years ago. 2009 is when I started. And then I went full-time 2011. So 13 years ago.
And what is the life of like of pre-child Sam look like?
Oh my gosh.
In this world?
Such a departure from what it is now, which is why I've been in a lot of therapy.
We love therapy.
Oh, I fucking love therapy. I need it.
Everyone
I want
should be in therapy.
Everyone should be in therapy.
Yeah.
I think it should be part of existing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like out and about. Like your girl was booked and blessed on a whole nother level. And I was like, no days off. Like I had insecurities out the wazoo of if I don't work and take every gig, I'm going to become irrelevant and disappear. So there was that driving me. And then on the more operational level, was like I was flying to different countries, I'd say like 20 days out of the month. Yeah. So I lived out of a suitcase. I was flying here, boo, 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 playing festivals, playing like underground dungeons.
And do you have an agent who's like helping you get these gigs?
Agent. I had an agent, UTA, shout out UTA. And then just like, I was just out there. I was like grinding. I threw a party for 10 years and we toured it. We like just busted down all the walls of like conventional clubbing and took our party elsewhere. And then I like started doing like more branding things and then but also kept it core and underground. So I was just like, I had my hand in everything.
Also, you just said, which is like the baddest bitch thing. You just said, I had a party for 10 years.
I did have a party for 10 years and I ended it last year.
I'm sorry. Are we sorry?
sorry, not sorry. No, we're not sorry. I don't feel sad that it ended, but I am looking forward to like how it could possibly come back to life in a new way.
I can't wait for your next party of 10 years.
But I mean, needless to say, like after COVID and having a baby, I'm not flying like I used to.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want to DJ late at night.
Yeah, the other day you said you're like, I'm home by 11.
Yeah. And so that's a new parameter that really was it was a very tough reality to swallow. But I was just like, no, this just doesn't feel good to me in so many ways. And then the question that I've just been moving with is, how can I make it work with this new like sort of creative constraint? Like how can I, make the wheels turn in this way? And I'm finding it.
You're doing it. I mean, you're fucking doing it.
Yeah.
The internet would suggest you are doing it.
Oh, thank you. I like the optics here.
Yeah, the internet would suggest you are fucking doing it.
Oh, I'm trying
back,
so
baby.
hard. Yeah. Before 11, I'm back.
Before 11, yeah. Just
Catch
get her home
me.
by 11. Because you are literally the life of a party. That is your job, to be the life of a party. And also, you're like a very regimented person. You have habits and rituals that you do like every day that are important to you. They kind of in some ways seem very opposite. Like the mess of a party.
Oh, yeah. But I think you're right.
But your daytime is very like...
My daytime is pretty regimented. But also, I think they go hand in hand. They're very parallel, because I think also with motherhood and a household, you have your structure and then you got to be flexible.
Yeah.
You got to be able to like roll with the punches. You got to be able to read a room.
Got to read a room.
You got to read the vibe. You got to understand transitions, right?
Transitions are the death of all of us if you don't get it right.
DJing has helped me with my transitions in motherhood. Like vibe setting.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I realized it in my newborn stage, because you all of a sudden you're like, wait, what's a sound machine? Like, what the fuck are the light? Like, what do I do with this hatch? Whatever. Right. Why are there so many colors? I don't get it. And then you've got your routines and your bedtime, bath time, and how's this baby gonna take a bottle, but then be sleepy, but then go to bed, but then wake up? Like, you know what I mean? And how are we gonna get through this? And I just really tuned into like the flow. In the same way a DJ set is like all about flow. Like you don't start the party with like the big banger of the night. You start with like a little vibe and you build slowly, and it gets a little bit faster, and then it gets a little bit louder, and then it gets like the music changes more quickly. And then you got to bring it down when there's a fight in the club. You got to think of, okay, I'm going to play Marvin Gaye now. Like, you just got to, like, know how to, like, ease off the gas and, like, put on the brakes and then go for it. It's, like, all mental.
That sounds very familiar.
It is motherhood, essentially. Like, you're mothering a huge room of drunk people and getting them... Yeah, to the bottle.
Yeah, to a very different bottle.
Different bottle.
I love that. Wow,
yeah,
that is really profound.
But in the same way, like I think DJing and anything entrepreneurial requires a lot of discipline and a lot of routine and a lot of preparation. The same way you prepare as a mother, packing your bag, preparing your playlist, and then you do need to have a fuck it button, which I call in all of those instances where you say, I did my best, and now Jesus, take the wheel. I'm just going to go whatever happens.
Yeah.
And I know I did my best. And that applies. I think philosophically, it's all very the same.
I love that.
Yeah. So you are a DJ.
I'm basically
you are
a DJ.
also a DJ.
Nobody would ever let me near any sort of music choices, but I am a DJ now. I'm a DJ of life.
You are.
Now tell me, who's helping you to make sort of this balance that you've created happen? Like who's the team?
The team is our nanny.
Mm-hmm.
She's my like life partner.
Co-parent, yeah.
She's my co-parent. How do you say this? Yeah, she's like my right hand for sure. And then my therapist.
Very important team member.
Very important team member, because as just shit happens every day. It's amazing what can go wrong by 9 a.m.
Wild. We've lived lives by 9
Yeah, I've done so much before I've gotten to your podcast. That, and who else? My parents are involved because they're local. My partner's involved.
He's hyper local.
Yes, because he's hyper local. We live together and everything, and we co-parent. And who else?
That's a good team.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid team. I think you need a team.
You need a team. And this is like my biggest evangelical point is I think we've all been made to believe that like we can have it all and do it all. And it's like, well, we can, but not at the same time. And so you need 100%. Other people to help.
Yeah.
You need other people to help. And that's the way that for most of human civilization, we did things until quite recently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How's your team looking?
My team's about to shape up with this au pair situation, which we can talk about another time because that's like a whole podcast.
You should. I really do think you should.
I'll do it just for you.
I'll cue you.
Okay, perfect.
And you A.
We'll do it. I can't wait. But yeah, we've got the au pair. Right now it's very like ad hoc. Like if I'm working today, I will hire a babysitter today. And obviously our older one is in school he's a real 9-to-5er, which we love for us.
He's like a full-time.
Yeah. He's got his little briefcase going off to the office. I
love that.
And for the most part, like he doesn't know any different and it works and he loves it and he comes home with cute shit he made and he's happy and he's tired and like that's all you can really ask for. I love it. But in your house, would you say there's two camps? There's either parents who are on the same page about how they want to parent their kids and what their approach is, or parents who have differing views and figure out how to compromise around those views. We're a mix of, I think, those two camps. Like in this house, I think there's some things where we're totally aligned on, and then other things where we just come at it. Like I'm like, this is what the research says. Yeah. This is what experience says. And husband is very like, this is my intuition being a person in the world, which he's often right, but it drives me insane that he's right because I'm like, but the research.
But I looked up several articles, and they all corroborate on this one point. Right. Okay, I'm gonna answer your question, but I also do want to give another shout out to the rest of the village because we have a housekeeper.
Oh, must.
Okay. Must. And if you can afford, and we have a gardener and a pool guy, like we have the full fucking thing, which is a big difference from a family that does not have the things. Yeah. And that's really why I can go to Pilates, because there's so many people that help us. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be cleaning my pool. Right. Or not having one. Yeah. Or like I'm mopping the floors all day. Yeah.
There's extreme privilege in a way that's fucked up about the help that we get and we can get. There's both privilege, but also like we shouldn't shy away from the fact that is the reality that we are very lucky to afford. We can advocate for other people and for it to just be like part of the U.S. system, like the social safety net system, that more people can get help. But to deny that it exists just makes people who don't have help feel even worse.
And that's why I do want to make that very clear, because I think that it is rough to go on the internet and be like, how come that mom can do that? She has 2 kids and then
like Nara Smith.
Yeah, like how? But like it's like there are a lot of like behind the scenes working people who make it such that I can show up. Yeah. And, like, I have had some rest. Yeah. Because if I didn't have our housekeeper, then I would be doing everything, like, every single day.
Yeah. I always joke that, like, our housekeeper is, like, keeping my marriage intact because I have such strong views about why the fuck should that be my responsibility? Right. I'm not good at cleaning. I don't like cleaning. Like, why is that something that I should have to do? Yeah. And nope, neither of us are going to do it because neither of us want to do it. And we are lucky enough to afford somebody else to do it.
I like doing it.
But I knew you were going to say that.
I do.
You freak.
I am a freak. And that's the thing. Does somebody want to match my freak? I like love it. But I have to actually restrain myself. Like, Sam, go listen to music. That's your job. You cannot spend your day
scrubbing the baseboards.
Yeah, scrubbing. Yeah, like sometimes I'm like, I'll just take a dryer sheet and I'll just quickly run my finger across every baseboard in our house.
Literally,
and then, I could just reorganize the garage today. No, like you literally need to do other stuff. Go pitch yourself for a gig. Go have lunch with a PR person. Like I have to physically restrain myself from cleaning.
See, and this is why I wish we were videoing right now. Is I wish people could see the like the acrobatics you were putting yourself in.
The bondage. Anyways, okay. Well, I do want to answer your second question, which is
where you and your partner agree or differ on parenting approach.
We definitely don't agree on anything, but I think I'm just so hell-bent on the research and thinking, and he is equally opposite not thinking, and I think that works.
Sure.
So I give the marching orders, and for the most part, unless he's absolutely not, he's like, all right, cool, that sounds cool. Yeah.
And you are also a stepmom.
Yeah, I am.
Mm-hmm. How does that, in terms of like, obviously your eldest stepdaughter, like your stepdaughter is in another home where she is being parented one way, and then she comes to your home. Are those parenting styles similar, or is it like how do you bring all of that together?
Yeah, how do you consolidate that? That's a great question, because no, I think that I think that I care about a lot of things that maybe aren't an issue to other parents in our ecosystem, which is fine, and then vice versa. So the way I've sort of mapped out my philosophy and my role as a stepmother is I am a support member to the bio mom and the bio dad.
I like that.
That they need to make the decisions on parenting, like the top level. And so long as they are communicated to me, I am merely here to support what they want. And then I think that also has to merge with how I run a household. And those can be mutually independent.
Yeah.
So if you're like, it's just like, we don't wear shoes in the house. So right. I don't know if you wear shoes in your mom's house, but we don't wear shoes here. Those things I feel more comfortable being like, okay, this is what we do here.
Right, because that's not some like existential parenting choice.
Correct.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's also taken like quite a few years to carve out, and then also build a communication style that works for everyone involved. This is probably my biggest body of work in the last 3 years. Is like it's a whole, like, it's a small company with a merger. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a good way of thinking about it. I have a stepmom, and I don't think would be massively shocking to anybody who knows me to say that is not a functioning relationship at all.
Okay.
And it's from a period of time in life where parents certainly weren't thinking about roles in as intentional a way. And it was just the whole way that in general parenting also at that time and how parents thought about parenting was super different.
Yeah.
I think the role of step parenting has also changed a lot.
You think so?
I think so. I feel like my friends who are step parents, I don't have a bunch, I have a couple, the way that they think about their role, I just think if I had that, I would be in a really different place with some of my relationships now. Because it just wasn't thought about. I don't think people were necessarily doing it out of malice, but I think they just weren't thinking about parents or a kid's perspective.
Yeah, this is like my first experience with a blended family is as this role. I don't have any previous experience, so it was very new to me and still is. And I think I've just accepted that it's going to be forever developing and a work in progress. And I think just taking that mindset has taken the edge off a bit. I've been, again, with the vibes and the transitions. I think I've been proud of how much space and time I've given, like, my stepdaughter and myself to forge our own relationship and our own connection that doesn't feel forced or, like, insincere.
Yeah. And also like respecting the role that her mom has in all of that.
Correct.
Which I think is probably a minefield, or I would imagine, because moms were like, these are our babies.
Oh,
so
100%.
It's gotta be complicated.
It is. It's complex, but I think, yeah, I've also given that a lot of consideration and respect that boundary. It's all about boundaries and communication and really like creating as much stability for the child as possible.
Yeah.
Which sounds pretty straightforward, but like it's not easy.
It's kind of hard. That's hard. It's hard to do.
It's really hard.
And how many years difference are there?
10 and 2.5.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about 8 years.
And I feel like that could potentially be super helpful. Like in terms of,
it's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing up until maybe yesterday. I noticed. I was like, oh shit! Like, we're getting into our real feelings. We're doing toddler feelings and tween feelings into teen feelings.
Yeah.
And there's also a new parenting philosophy that you raise your children differently because they're different people instead of lumping them into the same person.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yesterday I was like, they are different people. They don't have to share everything. Like, they can each have their own decisions. Like, that part, which I'm like, wow, that's so progressive. Yeah. I was not raised that way. Yeah. I think me and my sister wore the same clothes until we were in high school.
Like matching or hand-me-downs?
Yeah, like matching.
Yeah.
And hand-me-downs. And like, raised the same way.
Right.
Disciplined the same way. We went to the same activities. Like, there was no, individual identity, which is like, cool. But I'm sure my mom was like, listen, y'all are both fed.
Yeah.
You guys have clothes. Like, I need to go to work. But yeah, yesterday was like that, and just a lot of big feelings, and okay, she needs space and she doesn't want to share with you, and let's go this way and you go that way. Just like cranky. So we'll just see. I don't know.
And how much is your partner a part of all of this? Because obviously this is his child. So how much is he, I think I know the answer, but
okay.
proactively
sure.
like setting rules of engagement or like setting ideas or preferences versus you're just out on these mean streets trying to figure it out?
I think for the most part, I'm on these mean streets trying to figure it out. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, sure. Now, we keep saying partner because obviously you and Blake are not married.
We're not married, no.
I know obviously that's a choice. Do you feel good about that choice? Are there ever times where people in your life make you question that choice? You've done the bigger thing, which is have a kid together, which is a much bigger commitment. It's very European of you.
Thank you. That's chic. I'll take it. I think that the sequence and timing and speed, pace at which everything happened with us just didn't make sense for marriage.
Yeah.
It was the last on the list. And it might be for the foreseeable future. I'm not opposed to marriage. It hasn't come up as a necessity.
It hasn't made sense.
No, because there's so many the bigger fish to fry, and we're not even done frying the big fish. And this is just, it's
relationship fish
getting small. The marriage fish is getting smaller and seemingly insignificant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know how it's going to contribute to the overall picture at this point. That said, I think if we had time and we had, a choice in the sequence of how things laid out, if I could do a little rearranging or organizing, I think marriage is lovely. It's a lovely institution. I think it's cool to like date someone for a really long time and then move in and then get married, and that whole timeline is wonderful. But we didn't have that, so we're like doing everything all at once.
So
we became roommates after we got pregnant.
Great.
Yeah, so it's just like so where does marriage fit in that? I need to know how you consume peanut butter first. And like, do you take the garbage out? Like, what's your deal with that? Like, that feels more important than like having a wedding.
I couldn't agree more. I think
so. We'll see.
weddings are a great excuse for a party, but that's honestly, like I said, you've already done the harder thing. I have friends who have been married or have been together for like 15 plus years and then finally got married, and they're like, it's the same.
It is the same, yeah. I think marriage is a great foundation for building a family. Like, hopefully you've reflected on your values and you've really discussed and you've really, committed to what you want to do together. I'm for it. It just hasn't happened on my side. And then I guess to your question, I don't really feel a type of way about it, which is interesting because I think also moving into this neighborhood, there is I think
everybody's fucking married.
Yeah, or they're like, oh, are you guys married? And I was like, no. But it just has always just sat on my skin like really, really easy. I feel very at ease about that.
When we first started dating, we had this like deal breakers discussion, like because we were doing long distance.
Okay, yes.
And his deal breaker was that he wanted to be married and he wanted to have kids. And he was worried that I was such a hardcore feminist progressive that like I wouldn't want those things. And I, similar to you, could take or leave marriage.
Sure.
This was something that mattered very much to him, and I was happy to do it. And obviously, I leaned the fuck in, like when we were planning a wedding.
Yeah, stuff. I saw your wedding photos the other day. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a great party. Gorgeous. But it wasn't something I felt like I needed to do. And now that I have kids, I'm like, oh my God, it is a joke that we care so much about this when the real commitment is
the peanut butter.
Is the how you and it's also like, even if knock on wood, like if something happens and we're not together, we are still together.
Oh
like,
yeah.
There's no bigger commitment you can make, because even if you get divorced,
you can be
or
like,
you break up or whatever, you really can't, like, you are together.
Correct.
Forever.
Yeah, that's
wasn't
the
until
bigger
having
commitment.
kids that I appreciated like how insignificant, in the context of having a family, how insignificant the actual institution of marriage is. Sorry for anybody listening who feels very deeply about that commitment.
You've been indifferent about marriage, and I guess you've continued to be indifferent because
I think, there's a lot of practical reasons to get married. I think the thing that I like most about a wedding is it's an opportunity for your entire community to be for you to say the things in front of the people you care about.
Sure.
And for them to say, we're going to have your backs when you hate each other. Because that's nice. So much of being in a relationship, especially in this phase of life, is like hating each other.
Yeah.
About things.
The resentment.
Right. It's so real. So to have a group of people who are saying like, oh, well, I'm not going to tell you use a fucking dick the minute you complain one time, you're going to have my back and say marriage is hard, you're doing this thing. I think that is really valuable.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But in my day-to-day life, I don't really think about it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either.
I don't think it's worth it. But let's talk about the other fun aspect, or fun for you. You don't think anything of it, obviously, because you're a terribly fabulous DJ, and
you have so many nice things to say to me. I should call you every morning.
Yeah, I'll hype you up. You've partnered with somebody who has a very interesting alternative career. He's an actor.
Yeah.
Now, you guys met DJing, and basically, would you say that you told him off, or were you just, hey, let's be a team here and not play the same music?
Yeah. I came in assertive, but collaborative. In that,
just like your partnership.
Just like our partnership as it has played out. So I met my partner at Los Globos, which is a nightclub in Silver Lake, California. We were DJing our friend Brandon Wardell's comedy club night.
Great.
He's an alt comic. He's amazing. We both knew him. Brandon said, come in and DJ my stupid party. It's called Teen Party, and we play like Mark Maron podcast intro, and then we play like Waka Flocka, but then we also play like whatever, Ashley Simpson, and like giggles, jokes and giggles, and cute people. And so I said, fine. And this was during my flying all over the place era. So I remember landing from Hong Kong or something, and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, but I have to go to this club. And then I made a playlist for Brandon. Okay, cool. Showing up, didn't read the flyer, had no idea who was DJing before me. And I come in and it's this guy with big curly hair. And I was like, he's playing all Soulja Boy, like just for an hour. And everyone's losing their minds. He's like jumping off the ceiling and like people are having a great time. But I had planned to play Soulja Boy one song, Gucci Bandana. But I said, okay, I don't know who this guy is. But I hope that he doesn't play Gucci Bandana because that's an integral part of my set and it's a non-negotiable for me. So I introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm Sam. I'm DJing after you. Can you please not play Gucci Bandana? And he said, fine, that's fine. And the rest is history, my friends. Now we are co-parenting and we live in this beautiful neighborhood.
When did you realize he was an actor?
Oh, gosh, maybe, I don't know. I didn't really clock it. Maybe after that night, because I took a picture with his hair. He has, like, signature hair. And I was like, can I try on your hair? Naturally. So I tried on his hair. We took a picture. And then I think I, like, posted it somewhere on my Instagram. And people were like, oh, my gosh, Blake. And I was like, and that's when I started, wait, what?
He's not just a Soulja Boy playing
He's not
DJ.
just a Soulja Boy impersonator, as we thought he was. And I'd never heard of him before. In fact, I don't even know if he knows this, but I had never heard of Workaholics. And when he told me he was friends with Adam Devine and Anders Holm, I was like, oh my gosh, the guys from The Intern. And he's like, yes, but I'm like, I love that movie so much. I always play it on the airplane. Like, Anders Holm's character, he cheated on Anne Hathaway, and like that wasn't cool, and like everyone's mad at him, and I'm kind of mad at him. And then Adam is like in that too, and he's like, yeah, they're in a lot of other stuff, and like we made a TV show together. I'm like, tell me more about. Wait, what? I had no idea. But you know, like over the next 2 years that would follow, I would see him around like at events, and like he's a runner, and I'm into fitness as well. So we would see each other at like Adidas running events and random like underground parties, and we would just like say hi. And then 2 years later, we started dating.
And then you decided, you sort of decided.
A baby decided.
A baby decided. You decided to be a family.
Yeah.
Had you dated anybody in the industry before that? I mean, I imagine being like a DJ, you're like around lots of interesting people. You don't have to kiss and tell if you don't want to, but I mean.
Yeah, a quick Google search will tell you.
Oh, I've Googled some things. I Googled in the preparation for this podcast. I saw one that I thought was interesting.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
sexy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've dated a few people in the industry. Yeah.
But they're just people.
You know,
quite often very weird
people are just people. I will say I date a lot of funny people.
If you're planning on staying alive till you're in your hundreds, you gotta laugh.
Yeah, I love to laugh.
I could date someone ugly if they made me laugh.
Exactly.
Your dating days are over, lady.
Yeah, I know, but the funny is still there, so that's good.
I jokingly, not that jokingly, to my husband said the other day, like, I wish I had been more promiscuous in my youth. Like, I was too well behaved.
You were?
Conscious.
Where do you think that came from?
I think just like a lack of like real sex education, and a lack of like, there was a lot of, at least where I grew up, just a lot of fear mongering about sex. Like, and you remember, like, it's, there's semen on the floor, I could get pregnant.
Yeah.
There was just so much misinformation.
Wives' tales,
right,
and myths,
and like, you know, you're scared and you're young and you're like a little self-conscious, and that's a heady cocktail to just stay the fuck away as long as possible.
Yeah. I wasn't very promiscuous either. Like I just liked relationships.
Yeah. I just stayed away altogether. But now I'm like I'm too tired. Like, I would be too tired now. So
I am so tired. Can you imagine going on a dating app?
Absolutely
oh my God.
not.
I can't think of a worse situation to be in. It just seems really daunting and very difficult.
It's a very different time to date now, I think, for people.
It's tough, man.
And, you know, you living in New York, you did also, there's just this like mentality of like, I have to find something better. There's always something better. There's always something better. And finding your person is as much kismet as it is a choice, I think. Like there's some part that's like the magic and the chemistry and the whatever, but some part is also like, I'm going to stop my search now. Like, you have to, it doesn't happen to you.
I'm jumping off the hamster wheel.
Yeah. I'm now in this new lane and I've made some choices. Sure. Do you ever think about, like, your daughter is obviously, you're younger, is insanely cute. And we yesterday talked about, you know, how we're not putting our kids' faces on the internet.
No, man.
Can you just tell us that anecdote a little bit of what sort of precipitated that choice?
Yeah, I've always been a bit iffy, and it is something that I needed to start thinking about even when I was pregnant, because I have an agent, and then there's like branded deals that could arise, and then what if they rope your family into the content or your baby, and how is that, where are you going to draw the line? What's comfortable for you? So I feel like I've always been pretty aware of maybe a shifting boundary and staying in tune with what that could be. But yeah, as of last week, okay, that's to say, I think leading up to last week, I don't post my kid that much, but like cute, like home stuff. But I'm not like posting her every day with.
You're not like commodifying her.
I'm not commodifying her that much. But yeah, last week, I don't know, I got out of an exercise class and I checked my phone and there was a DM, and it was like somebody had seen my child at an indoor playground without me. Recognized them, decided that they didn't like something about whatever was going on, and felt the need to,
felt like they were your bestie, and they could
and they fired off the DM, then mirrored the same message in an email and sent it to my professional email, and I was shaking. I felt so violated and disturbed, and I couldn't even figure out why. At first, I have this amazing college group text of girlfriends.
Where'd you go to college?
UC San Diego.
Oh, nice.
And so we have this core group of 6 girls from the same business fraternity pledge class. And we've been friends for 20 years.
Business fraternity? Yeah. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. Another pod. But I was just like firing off. I was like, dude, somebody help me. I don't even know what's happening. And I feel sick. Like I want to throw up. And I need to disseminate what's happening. And I was able to talk to like some girlfriends about it. My college girlfriends, one of my friends who's like a viral cookbook author on Instagram. So she had some perspective, and I just decided, I was like, you know what, this is so inappropriate. I'm like so violating on many, many levels. And it's just like not I don't think this person should have access to me. And if the doorway to this is that they recognize my child's face, then that's where I need to make a change. Because certainly this wouldn't be the last time it would happen, only the first, and I don't feel good. So I need to make a hard and fast change like right away.
So are you going to make sure then that you increase the frequency of the cute pictures to your friends and other channels, so that we're not missing
close friends?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so we've moved
miss out on those pics.
We moved our talents over to Team No Face.
Great
is what I'm calling it.
Great.
And close friends.
You'll like it over here, I promise.
Close friends. I didn't really, when I had considered, which we all have to consider, right? At some point in our pregnancy or our motherhood, I didn't consider this specific situation.
Right. Because I think sometimes you forget, like, you are a known person. You have, it's not like you have 10 followers like Mother Life on Instagram. You have a following.
But then it's like,
people are interested in your life.
I guess I considered like, oh, if they saw us at the farmer's market.
Right.
And like, they're like, oh, it's, Blake and Sam. Right. And like, are these your daughters? Oh, cute. Okay. Yeah. But if you're like coming up to my daughter and I'm not even there.
That's scary, yeah.
That's so scary. And we had to just sort of like debrief with our nanny too, like, hey, you know, I don't know if some people might recognize her, but like not everyone's my friend, so they may feel like they are.
Right, which feels shitty that you had to do that.
Yeah, that was a really big bummer. And here's the other fucked up part is that I do feel like that person was well intentioned.
Right, yeah.
It's just the accessibility that I think is so blurry and meant to be inappropriate, but it is. It's so violating.
Yeah. 100%. I'm really sorry that
like
happened.
How do you come and criticize our operation? You don't know us.
I love the way you talk about your house like a business. How do you criticize our operation? I love it. It is a business. Emily Oster is the family firm.
Our LLC.
I love that. I think my last question for you is, you are raising girls to be powerful, strong, badass women.
Yes.
Your family wasn't sure about you taking this creative path.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel both about, well, I'll ask about your youngest, because that's the one you really have more sort of control over in terms of how you think about the parenting. How do you feel if one day she comes to you and says she wants to do something really hard in the creative arts space? And what do you want for her in terms of what kind of life you want her to have, what kind of person you want her to be?
Yeah, I think one at the forefront of my mind is I don't want her to be overscheduled. I feel like that's just like a general rule that I have, because I feel like I was overscheduled, and that really took a toll on my ability to like chill and enjoy life and not
Clean a baseboard.
not clean a baseboard, and to sit the hell down and like know that even when I'm sitting, I am enough and I'm loved and I'm worthy. I feel like that like really paralyzed my mind a lot as a kid, and that's because I was so overscheduled. But I also love activities. So I don't know. I think that's what I would want to instill in her, is like balance. And also like, we're very growth mindset. I'm big on growth mindset. So I'm just like, pursue your interests. I'm going to follow your lead. But I want you to just learn how to learn and enjoy learning and the process of it, because that's going to really make for an enjoyable existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I'm seeing it coming through already. She's just, I'm going to keep trying. Oh, try your best. And I'm like, keep going. We can do hard things. This morning she like woke up and she was like, I have a jammed morning this morning, so I moved my exercise class to 7:15.
Bless you. That's for us, people. She did that for us.
I did. And our nanny, I was like, okay, our nanny is going to wake up with you at 7. And at 6:30, she was like, Mommy, no. Why? I don't want. And I came in and I was like, oh, you're having a hard time. This is hard. But sometimes it's not going to be mommy that wakes up with you. Sometimes it's gonna be daddy, sometimes it's gonna be your grandma, and sometimes it's gonna be your nanny, and we're gonna take turns, and we all love you, and you're gonna be fed, and you're gonna be clothed, and someone's gonna get ready with you, but today's not mommy's turn, and that's hard. And she like turned to her croissant, which she has a stuffed croissant that she won't let go of, and she's, croissant, sometimes mommy's not gonna get ready with us. And that's hard. Well, we can do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's working.
You wanted parenting today. It's not even 11 a.m.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling. That's the best feeling.
It was good. And I feel like it's not as hard as... Okay, how did you feel about baby-led weaning? Because I felt like if I did not serve radishes on watermelon radishes one day, like everything would dismantle and fall apart. I was so scared.
Oh my God, that's like we could do a whole podcast just on that. But every decision feels so consequential.
Yeah.
And this is in part, I think, because of how we consume things on social media and how things are messaged to us, because we're more likely to engage with things for longer if we're scared or upset or sad. It's just like how chemically our brains are wired. So the way that this stuff is sent to us, everything feels so scary and so consequential. And the biggest regret, and we talk about this with our friend Sarah sometimes, is I just wish I served him more fucking quesadillas. I wish I served him mac and cheese because I didn't, and now he doesn't eat those things, and it is so sad to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like my daughter just had her first peanut butter jelly last week.
Like
her mind is
eat
blown.
a fucking sandwich. Biggest regret of my life, almost 4 years old, won't eat a sandwich.
He'll come around.
But like I could have made it easier for myself by not trying to serve him sardines at 6 months. You know, like there were priorities that I set that I don't know why I set.
Well, no, I get it. I just think like there was a time where I felt like if I didn't, that everything would end. Yes. And it would just be chicken nuggets forever. And so I was just like somewhere between sardines and chicken nuggets, and that there was no in between and no like leeway.
100%.
And now I feel like, oh, okay, we just keep trying our best.
We just keep trying our best.
That's it. And a solid 85% is we're already crushing it.
This was the best. I want to do this with you like every day, but my takeaways are I am a DJ. Everybody heard it. I just have to try my best. And that we can DJ our transitions.
Girl.
And it's all about setting the vibe.
It is about setting the vibe.
I love it.
Is.
I love it. Okay, well, this will not be our last conversation, but it was a great first one.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for changing your exercise schedule to be with us in my closet.
I did it. You want to know what my morning was?
Yes.
I did a 7:15 class. Then I took my dog to the groomer. And then I came here.
We are out here living a life of luxury, people. We are exercising and grooming animals.
Podcasting
in
gigantic closets. Don't let her fool you with this closet situation. It's very
chic. It's a sizable closet, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do this again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
High five, team.
High five.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another chat in the closet. In the meantime, follow along on Instagram at mother.life for our regular recipes, rants, and riots. And check out our website, www.mother.life. This podcast was produced by Mother Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.